I don't want your failure to curse my marriage." The words hung in the air like smoke from a house fire, and I swear I felt my soul leave my body for a solid 10 seconds. My sister Chiara stood there in her pristine white robe, sipping mimosas with her future mother-in-law Meredith, while I processed what had just happened. My name is Daphne, and 3 months ago, I thought I knew what rock bottom felt like. That was when I walked into my bedroom and found my husband Caleb with his secretary. Classic, right? Like something out of a bad movie, except the betrayal was real and the divorce papers were very, very expensive. But this was a new kind of low. "Ciara, what are you saying exactly?" I managed to keep my voice steady, even though my hands were shaking around my coffee cup. Meredith cleared her throat, her perfectly manicured fingers adjusting her pearl necklace. "What we're saying, dear, is that having a recently divorced woman as maid of honor sends the wrong message. It's simply not auspicious." I looked around the bridal suite, taking in the chaos of tulle and tissue paper, the half-eaten pastries, the other bridesmaids suddenly finding their phones very interesting. This was supposed to be our final fitting, our last sister moment before Chiara's big day. Instead, it felt like an intervention. "You're demoting me," I said flatly. "I'm protecting my wedding." Ciara shot back, and there it was. The sister I'd been supporting through panic attacks about centerpieces and guest lists had just thrown me under the bus in front of a room full of people. Let me back up. When Caleb destroyed our marriage, Ciara was the first person I called. She held me while I ugly cried into her shoulder, brought me ice cream at 2 a.m., and promised we'd get through this together. When she got engaged 6 weeks later, I was genuinely happy for her. When she asked me to be her maid of honor, I said yes, without hesitation. When she mentioned the villa in Tuscany for the wedding week and started panicking about costs, I didn't think twice. I put the entire thing on my credit card. $15,000 for a week-long celebration of love, because that's what sisters do, right? Daphne paid for the villa. Jayla, my best friend and fellow bridesmaid, said quietly from the corner. God bless her. Meredith waved a dismissive hand. And we're very grateful, but gratitude doesn't change the optics. The optics? I repeated. A failed marriage standing next to a successful one. Meredith continued, as if she was explaining basic math to a child. It's like having a funeral director at a birthday party. Charlie, Ciara's fiancé, shifted uncomfortably in his chair, but said nothing. Of course he said nothing. The man had the backbone of overcooked pasta. So, what's the plan? I asked, surprised by how calm I sounded. I just disappear. You'll still be in the wedding party, Ciara said quickly. Just not as maid of honor. Sarah can take over those duties. Sarah, who had known Ciara for exactly 18 months and spent most of their friendship complaining about her own boyfriend. And the speech? I asked. We think it's better if I don't remind everyone that marriages can fail. I finished. Got it. The room was so quiet I could hear the air conditioning humming. I stood up slowly, smoothing down my dress, and grabbed my purse. Where are you going? Ciara asked, and for a second she sounded like my little sister again, the one who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms. Home, I said. I need to think. Daphne, don't be dramatic. Dramatic! I turned back to face her. Ciara, I just spent 3 months putting your wedding together while my own life fell apart. I paid for your dream venue. I organized your bachelorette party. I held your hand through every meltdown about napkin colors and seating charts, and now you're telling me I'm bad luck? It's not personal, Meredith interjected. I laughed, and it came out sharp and bitter. Lady, everything about this is personal. I walked toward the door, then paused. By the way, Ciara, the villa reservation is in my name. Enjoy figuring that out. The last thing I heard as I left was Meredith's horrified gasp and Ciara calling my name. But I was already gone, walking out into the parking lot with my dignity hanging by a thread and my credit card statement burning a hole in my purse. I sat in my car for a full 5 minutes, staring at the steering wheel before I finally let myself feel it. The rage, the humiliation, the absolute audacity of it all. Then I pulled out my phone and called Jayla. Get Palmer, I said when she answered. Emergency wine night. We need to talk. 2 hours later, Jayla burst through my front door like she was conducting a SWAT raid, Palmer right behind her with 3 bottles of wine and a family-size bag of chips. Where is she? Jayla demanded, scanning my living room like Ciara might be hiding behind the couch. Where's your backstabbing sister so I can tell her exactly what I think? Gone, I said from my spot on the floor, surrounded by crumpled tissues and an empty pint of Ben & Jerry's. Back to her perfect life with her perfect fiancé and his perfect mother. Palmer set the wine on my coffee table and sat down beside me. Okay, walk us through it again. Slowly. I told them everything. Every painful detail, every dismissive comment, every moment of that humiliating brunch. By the time I finished, Jayla was pacing my living room like a caged tiger. $15,000, she kept repeating. $15,000! I know. For a villa she's now using to celebrate kicking you out of her wedding. Jayla, and that crusty old bat Meredith had the nerve to call you bad luck? You know what's bad luck? Marrying into a family of snobs who think divorce is contagious. Palmer poured 3 generous glasses of wine. What did your parents say? I laughed bitterly. Mom texted me an hour ago. Honey, maybe it's for the best. You know how stressed Ciara gets. Oh, hell no. Jayla stopped pacing. Your mum said that. Word for word. Dad hasn't even responded. Palmer handed me a glass. So what's the plan? Plan? I took a long sip. The plan is to show up, smile, and pretend this didn't happen, because that's what good sisters do, right? Wrong, Jayla said firmly. That's what doormats do. What choice do I have? The wedding's in 2 weeks. Everything's paid for. Palmer raised an eyebrow. Everything's paid for by who? By me, but... I stopped. Wait, what are you getting at? The villa, Palmer said slowly. It's in your name? Yeah, but I can't just... Can't just what? Jayla sat down across from me, her eyes lighting up with something dangerous. Can't just use the vacation rental you paid for. It's for Ciara's wedding week. According to who? Palmer asked. Did you sign a contract saying you'd give up your rights to the property? I stared at them both. You're not seriously suggesting... I'm suggesting, Jayla said, that your sister kicked you out of her wedding party. But who paid for the party? The words hit me like a slap. I grabbed my laptop from the coffee table and pulled up my email, scrolling through until I found the confirmation from the villa rental company. Reservation holder, Daphne Ray, I read aloud. Check-in, June 15th. Check-out, June 22nd. And when's the wedding? Palmer asked. June 18th. Jayla grinned. So you have the villa for the entire week, but the wedding party is supposed to arrive on the 16th for the rehearsal dinner, and... I stopped talking as the pieces clicked together. Oh my God! There it is, Palmer said softly. I stared at the screen, my heart racing. The villa was mine. Legally, completely mine. I'd paid for it, booked it, and never transferred the reservation to anyone else. I could go early, I said quietly. You could go whenever you want, Jayla corrected. It's your villa. But what about Ciara's wedding? What about it? Jayla shrugged. She made it very clear you're not welcome in her wedding. She didn't say anything about you not being welcome at your own vacation rental. Palmer leaned forward. Think about it, Daphne. You've been planning this trip for months. You deserve a vacation after everything you've been through. A vacation with my friends, Jayla added meaningfully. I looked between them, my mind racing. You'd come with me? Are you kidding? Jayla pulled out her phone. I've been dying to use my vacation days. Palmer? I can work remotely from anywhere, Palmer said, especially somewhere with good wine and better weather. I stared at the confirmation email again, then at my friends, then back at the screen. A slow smile spread across my face. The reservation is non-refundable anyway, I said. Exactly, Jayla said. So really, you'd be wasting money if you didn't go, and it would be a shame to let such a beautiful villa sit empty, Palmer added. I opened a new browser tab and pulled up flight booking sites. How fast can you pack? For this, Jayla was already texting. I can be ready in 2 hours. Palmer raised her glass. To reclaiming what's yours. I clinked my glass against theirs, feeling something shift inside me. Not quite revenge yet, but something close to it. Something that tasted like freedom. Change of plans, I said, pulling out my phone to text the group chat. Girls' Week. Pack bold. The villa was even more stunning than the photos. Perched on a hillside overlooking the Mediterranean, with infinity pools that seemed to spill into the horizon and terraces draped in bougainvillea. The staff greeted us like we were royalty. Signorina Daphne! Marco, the property manager, rushed forward with genuine warmth. Welcome, welcome. Everything is prepared exactly as you requested. Thank you, Marco. These are my friends, Jayla and Palmer. Ah, yes, the celebration party. We have champagne chilling, and the chef is preparing your welcome dinner. Jayla shot me a look. Celebration party? I may have told them we were celebrating my new beginning, I said, dropping my bags in the marble foyer. Palmer whistled low. Daphne, this place is insane. How much did this cost? Don't ask questions you don't want answers to. We spent the first day doing absolutely nothing productive. Swimming, drinking wine that cost more than my car payment, and letting the Italian sun bake away 3 months of stress. It felt like therapy, except with better scenery and no copay. I can't believe you almost gave this up, Jayla said, floating on her back in the pool. For a wedding where you weren't even wanted. I can't believe I paid for my own humiliation, I replied, sipping a Bellini on the pool deck. Palmer looked up from her book. Speaking of humiliation, did you see Chiara's Instagram story? I grabbed my phone. There was Chiara, posing in what looked like a hotel room, with the caption, Last-minute venue change. Sometimes the universe has better plans. Blessed wedding week. Venue change? I scrolled through the comments. What venue change? Keep reading, Palmer said. The comments were a goldmine. Wait, What happened to the villa? I thought you were staying in Tuscany. Is everything okay? Ciara had responded to a few. Just some family drama, but we're making it work. Love always finds a way. Family drama, I repeated. I'm family drama now. You're about to be a lot more than that, Jayla said, climbing out of the pool. Check your messages. I opened my phone to find 17 missed calls from Ciara, 12 from my mother, and a string of increasingly frantic texts. Ciara. Daphne, we need to talk. Ciara. The villa people said you checked in early? Ciara. This isn't funny. Call me back. Ciara. Mom says you're not answering. We're supposed to arrive tomorrow. Mom. Honey, please call your sister. She's very upset. Mom. This isn't like you to be vindictive. The last text was from an unknown number. This is Meredith. I don't know what game you're playing, but this behavior is unacceptable. Call me immediately. Oh, this is Rich, I said, showing them the messages. Now I'm vindictive. You know what's vindictive? Jayla grabbed the phone. Kicking your sister out of your wedding after she paid for everything. Palmer sat up. Wait, they don't know you're here with us. I may have been vague about my travel plans, so they think you're just squatting in the villa alone? Apparently. We looked at each other and burst out laughing, the kind of laughter that comes from pure, unadulterated chaos. This is better than reality TV, Palmer said. My phone buzzed with another call from Ciara. I declined it and opened my camera app instead. What are you doing? Jayla asked, documenting my vindictive behavior. I snapped a photo of my Bellini against the sunset backdrop. For posterity, post it, Palmer said immediately. I shouldn't. Post it, Jayla agreed, with a caption about finding peace after difficult times. I hesitated for exactly 3 seconds before uploading it to Instagram with the caption, sometimes the best therapy is a change of scenery, grateful for true friends and new beginnings. Tuscany, healing. Blessed. Within minutes, the likes started pouring in, comments from college friends, co-workers, even some of Kiara's friends. You're glowing. You deserve this. Living your best life. My phone immediately started ringing. Ciara again. Answer it, Palmer said. This should be good. I put it on speaker. Hello? Daphne, what the hell are you doing? Ciara's voice was shrill with panic. Having a vacation. What are you doing? You can't just take over the villa. The wedding party is supposed to arrive tomorrow. The wedding party that I'm no longer part of? That's not... Look, we can work this out. Maybe you can stay in the guest house or... The guest house? I looked at Jayla, who was making throat-slitting gestures. Ciara, this is my vacation rental. I paid for it. It's in my name. But it's for my wedding. Your wedding that I'm apparently cursing with my presence? Silence on the other end. Daphne. Ciara's voice got smaller. Please, I'm sorry about what Meredith said. Can't we just what? Pretend you didn't humiliate me in front of everyone? Pretend you didn't choose your future mother-in-law over your own sister? It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that. I stood up, pacing to the edge of the terrace. You made your choice, Ciara. Now live with it. But where are we supposed to stay? I hear hotels are lovely this time of year. I hung up and immediately turned off my phone. Damn, Palmer said. That was ice cold. Good. Jayla raised her glass. Let them scramble. 3 days of blissful peace ended with the sound of car doors slamming in the villa's driveway. "Expecting someone?" Palmer asked from her spot on the pool float. I looked up from my book, squinting against the afternoon sun. "Not unless Marco ordered more wine." The doorbell rang, then rang again. Then someone started pounding on the door. "Daphne, open up! We need to talk!" Chiara's voice carried across the courtyard, like a fire alarm. "Oh, this is happening," Jayla said, practically bouncing out of her lounge chair. "This is actually happening." I stood up slowly, adjusting my white bikini and grabbing my cover-up. "Should I put on clothes?" "Absolutely not," Palmer said. "You look amazing, and they're the ones showing up uninvited." More pounding. "Daphne, I know you're in there." I walked to the front door, my bare feet silent on the cool marble. Through the peephole, I could see Ciara, Charlie, and Meredith standing on the doorstep with suitcases. Meredith looked like she was about to have a stroke. I opened the door with my biggest smile. "Ciara, what a surprise!" My sister's mouth fell open. Behind her, Charlie's eyes went wide, and Meredith made a sound like a deflating balloon. "What are you wearing?" Ciara hissed. "A swimsuit. It's called vacation attire." I leaned against the doorframe. "What brings you by?" "What brings us by?" Meredith pushed forward. "This is our accommodation. We have a wedding in 3 days." "Your accommodation?" I tilted my head. "That's interesting. Marco didn't mention any other guests." "Because you're not supposed to be here!" Ciara's voice cracked. "You're supposed to be home, dealing with your divorce like a normal person. Dealing with my divorce?" I laughed. "Ciara, I am dealing with my divorce, with wine, sunshine, and friends who actually support me." "Friends?" Charlie finally spoke up, looking confused. "Daphne," Jayla's voice carried from the pool area. "Is everything okay? The shrimp is getting cold." Meredith's face turned purple. "There are people here?" "My friends. Yes, we're having a lovely time." "You can't just take over our venue," Meredith sputtered. "My venue," I corrected. "Would you like to see the reservation confirmation?" I pulled out my phone and showed them the screen. Meredith snatched it from my hands, her eyes scanning the details. This is impossible. Ciara said what?" I looked at my sister, who had gone very pale. "I told them you were just staying here temporarily," Ciara whispered, "until we arrived." "Temporarily?" I raised an eyebrow. "In the villa I paid for? For my own vacation? Your vacation?" Charlie looked between us. "But this is our wedding week." "Your wedding week that I'm no longer invited to participate in, remember?" Palmer appeared behind me, still dripping from the pool, holding a glass of wine. "Everything okay, Daphne?" "Palmer, meet my sister Chiara, her fiancé Charlie, and his mother Meredith. Everyone, this is Palmer, one of my actual friends." "Charmed," Palmer said dryly. Meredith was still staring at my phone. "This reservation is non-refundable." "I know. That's why I'm using it." "But what about our wedding party?" Chiara's voice was getting higher. "Where are we supposed to stay?" "I hear the hotel in town is lovely." "The hotel." Charlie looked panicked. "But we specifically chose this villa for the wedding photos, the rehearsal dinner." "The rehearsal dinner I was supposed to plan," I said. "Before I became a bad omen, remember?" Meredith handed my phone back with shaking hands. "This is unacceptable. We have guests arriving tomorrow." "Then you should probably start making some calls." Daphne, please. Chiara stepped closer. Can't we work something out? Maybe we can all stay here together. Together? I looked at her like she'd suggested we all get matching tattoos. Ciara, you kicked me out of your wedding because I might curse it with my divorce cooties. Now you want to share a villa with me? It's not that simple. It's exactly that simple. I stepped back into the doorway. You made your choice. You chose Meredith's superstitions over your own sister. You chose appearances over family, so now you get to live with those choices. But the wedding will happen somewhere else, or it won't. Either way, it's not my problem anymore. Meredith's voice was ice cold. You're doing this out of spite. I'm doing this out of self-respect, I replied. There's a difference. This is ridiculous, Charlie said. Surely we can find a compromise. The compromise, Jayla called from behind me, would have been not humiliating your sister-in-law in the first place. Sister-in-law? Meredith looked confused. Former sister-in-law, I corrected, since I'm apparently too cursed to stand next to your son. The silence stretched between us like a taut wire. So what now? Chiara asked quietly. Now you leave, I said, and you figure out your own wedding arrangements, like adults. Daphne. Goodbye, Chiara. I started to close the door, but Meredith stuck her foot in the gap. This isn't over, she said. You're right. I smiled. It's just getting started. I closed the door firmly and turned the lock. Through the wood, I could hear muffled arguing, car doors slamming, and the sound of gravel crunching under tires. Well, Palmer said, raising her wine glass. That went better than expected. Better? I stared at her. They left, didn't they? My phone started ringing at 6 a.m. the next morning. Mom's ringtone. I let it go to voicemail, then listened to the message while making coffee. Daphne, honey, your sister is beside herself. They can't find anywhere to stay within 25 miles because of some festival. Please call me back. We need to fix this. Fix this? I said to my empty kitchen. I didn't break anything. Jayla stumbled out onto the terrace, squinting in the morning light. Was that your phone? It's barely dawn. Family drama, I said, handing her a cup of coffee. Already? They just left yesterday. Palmer joined us, looking surprisingly alert for someone who'd finished 2 bottles of wine the night before. I have news, and it's not good news for Team Bride. Spill, Jayla said. My friend Sarah, the one who took over your Maid of Honor duties, she's in the wedding party group chat. Apparently, they spent 4 hours last night calling every hotel, B&B, and vacation rental within 50 miles. Everything's booked solid. Because of the festival? I asked. Some huge music festival in the next town over. Has been sold out for months. I sipped my coffee, trying to process this. So, where are they staying? As of last night? Charlie's parents were in some roadside motel an hour away. The wedding party is scattered across 3 different towns, and Meredith is apparently having a complete meltdown. Good, Jayla said immediately. Is it good? I asked. I mean, I wanted to make a point, not destroy her entire wedding. She destroyed your place in her wedding first, Palmer pointed out. This is just consequences. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This is Sarah. Can we talk? It's important. I showed them the message. Should I answer? Put it on speaker, Jayla said. I called the number back. Sarah answered on the first ring. Daphne, thank God. Listen, I need to tell you something, and I probably shouldn't, but I can't keep quiet anymore. Okay. Meredith sent an email to the entire wedding party last night. She was trying to send it just to Charlie, but she hit reply all by mistake. Palmer leaned forward. What did it say? I'm forwarding it to you right now. But Daphne, it's bad. My phone pinged with the email notification. I opened it and read aloud. Charlie, your future sister-in-law is a jealous witch who can't stand to see other people happy. You should have cut her off years ago instead of letting her manipulate Kiara with money. This is exactly the kind of toxic behavior I warned you about. We need to present a united front and make sure everyone knows this tantrum is not our fault. The silence on the terrace was deafening. She sent this to everyone? I asked. The entire wedding party. Bridesmaids, groomsmen, plus ones. About 40 people. What was the reaction? Mixed. Some people are Team Meredith, but honestly, most people think she went too far, especially after they found out you paid for the villa. Jayla grabbed my phone. She called you a jealous witch? And toxic, Palmer added helpfully. There's more, Sarah continued. Charlie's cousin posted the group chat asking if this was really about you being divorced or if there was something else going on. And then what? Then Nicholas showed up. I nearly dropped my coffee. Nicholas? Nicholas from high school? The same one. Apparently he's friends with Charlie's brother, and he was invited to the wedding. He saw the whole email chain, and he's not happy. Nicholas. I hadn't thought about him in years, but we'd all grown up together. He'd been Chiara's first crush, actually, before he moved away for college. What did he say? He said, and I quote, "Anyone who calls Daphne toxic doesn't know her at all. She's one of the most loyal people I've ever met, and if she's taking a stand like this, there's probably a damn good reason." He said that. In the group chat, in front of everyone. Palmer was grinning. I like this Nicholas guy. It gets better, Sarah continued. After that, people started asking questions about why you were really removed from the wedding party, about who paid for what, about whether this was really about superstition or something else. Something else. Daphne, I don't know how to say this, but some people are starting to wonder if Kiara was jealous of you. Like, maybe she wanted you out of the spotlight. I sat down hard in my chair. That's ridiculous, is it? You just went through a divorce, you're vulnerable, and instead of supporting you, she kicks you out of her wedding and takes your money for the venue. From the outside, it looks pretty calculated. Jayla was nodding vigorously. I've been saying this for months. There's one more thing, Sarah said. Nicholas asked for your number. He wants to call you. Why? He said he has something to tell you about Ciara, something he should have told you a long time ago. My blood went cold. What kind of something? He wouldn't say over the phone, but Daphne, he seemed really upset, like genuinely angry upset. I looked at Palmer and Jayla, who were both staring at me with identical expressions of concern. Give him my number, I said finally. Are you sure? I'm sure. If there's something I need to know, I want to know it. Okay, I'll text him now. Sarah, thank you for telling me about the email. You deserve to know. And Daphne, for what it's worth, I think you're handling this exactly right. After I hung up, we sat in silence for a long moment. Well, Palmer said finally, this just got interesting. My phone rang. Unknown number. That was fast, Jayla said. I answered. Hello? Daphne, it's Nicholas. We need to talk. Nicholas? Hi. Sarah said you wanted to talk? I'm driving to you right now. I'll be there in 2 hours. I blinked. You're driving here? To the villa? I can't say this over the phone, and after reading that email from Meredith, I can't keep quiet anymore. What email are you talking about exactly? The one where she called you a jealous witch. Daphne, I've known you since we were 12. You're a lot of things, but jealous isn't one of them. Jayla was making frantic hand gestures, mouthing, "Put it on speaker." I complied. Nicholas, what's this about? It's about your sister, and something that happened last year that you don't know about. My stomach dropped. What happened last year? I'll tell you when I get there. But Daphne, you're going to want to sit down for this. The line went dead. I stared at my phone. Well, that was ominous. Palmer said, "What could Ciara have done last year that I don't know about?" "Only one way to find out," Jayla said. "But first, we need to talk about your mom." "My mom? She's been calling you non-stop. Maybe it's time to answer." As if summoned, my phone rang again. Mom. "Hi, Mom." "Daphne, thank goodness. Honey, you need to come home right now and fix this situation with your sister." "Fix what situation?" "Don't play dumb. Ciara is having a nervous breakdown. She can't find anywhere for her wedding party to stay, and Meredith is threatening to cancel the whole thing." "Maybe Meredith should have thought about that before she called me a bad omen. That's not fair, and you know it. She was just trying to protect Ciara's special day." I looked at Jayla, who was making throat-slitting gestures again. "Mom, did you read the email Meredith sent to the wedding party?" Silence. "Mom?" "What email?" "The one where she called me a jealous witch and said I was toxic." "I'm sure she didn't mean—" "She meant every word. And you know what? Maybe she's right. Maybe I am toxic. Maybe that's why I paid $15,000 for a villa and then had the audacity to use it after being kicked out of the wedding." "Daphne, you're being dramatic." "Dramatic?" I stood up, pacing to the edge of the terrace. "Mom, when Caleb cheated on me, who was the first person I called?" "You called me. Wrong. I called Ciara. When I was crying so hard I couldn't breathe. Who held me? When I needed someone to help me pack up my entire life, who was there?" "Your sister was there for you?" "She was. Until it became inconvenient. Until her future mother-in-law decided my divorce was contagious." "It's not about that." "Then, what is it about, Mom? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like Ciara chose her wedding over her sister, and you're choosing to enable that. I'm choosing to keep this family together. By asking me to swallow my pride and pretend this didn't happen? By asking you to be the bigger person?" I laughed, and it came out sharp and bitter. "I'm always the bigger person, Mom. When we were kids and Ciara broke something, who took the blame? When she needed money for college, who co-signed her loans? When she wanted this villa, who paid for it without question? That's what family does. No, Mom, that's what I do. And I'm done." "You don't mean that." "I mean every word. I'm done being the family doormat. I'm done sacrificing my dignity for the sake of keeping the peace. And I'm done pretending that what Ciara did was okay. She's your sister." "She was my sister. Sisters don't humiliate each other in public. Sisters don't choose their in-laws over their own blood. And sisters definitely don't take $15,000 from someone they're about to betray." "Daphne, I have to go, Mom. Nicholas is coming over, and apparently he has something to tell me about Ciara that I should have known a long time ago." "What does Nicholas have to do with anything?" "I guess I'm about to find out." I hung up and immediately turned my phone to silent. "Damn," Palmer said. "You just went nuclear on your mom." "She deserved it. They all deserve it." "What do you think Nicholas wants to tell you?" Jayla asked. "I have no idea, but given the week I've had, I'm expecting the worst." 2 hours later, a rental car pulled into the driveway. Nicola got out, and I was surprised by how much he'd changed. Taller, broader, with the kind of confidence that comes from success, but his eyes were the same, kind, but serious. "Daphne." He hugged me tightly. "I'm so sorry about all of this." "You drove 2 hours to apologize for my sister's behavior? I drove 2 hours to tell you the truth about your sister's behavior." He looked at Jayla and Palmer. "This is going to be a private conversation." "They're my best friends," I said. "Whatever you have to say, you can say in front of them." Nicholas nodded slowly. "Okay, but you're not going to like this." "I already don't like any of this. Just tell me." He took a deep breath. "Last year, during Chiara's bachelorette party in Vegas, she cheated on Charlie." The words hit me like a physical blow. "What?" "She slept with someone else, a guy she met at the hotel bar. I know because I was there. Charlie's brother invited me to the bachelor party, and we ended up at the same hotel." "You saw her?" "I saw her leaving his room the next morning. She begged me not to tell Charlie, said it was a mistake, that it would never happen again." I sat down hard on the terrace steps. "And you kept quiet?" "I kept quiet because she's your sister, and I didn't want to destroy your family. But after seeing what she's doing to you now, after watching her take your money and kick you out of her wedding, I can't stay silent anymore." "Does Charlie know?" "Not unless she told him, which I doubt." I looked up at him. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because your sister is not the victim here, Daphne. You are, and I'll be damned if I let her destroy your reputation to cover up her own guilt." The morning of Ciara's wedding, I woke up to 17 missed calls and a string of increasingly desperate texts. "Ciara. Please, I'm begging you. We have nowhere to go." "Ciara. The wedding is in 6 hours and half our guests are scattered across 3 towns. "Ciara. I know I messed up. Can we please talk?" "Mom. Your sister is in tears. Please just give her the villa for today." Even Charlie had texted, "Daphne, I know things are complicated, but could we work something out? Just for the ceremony?" I showed the messages to Nicholas over breakfast. He'd stayed in the guest room, and somehow his presence made everything feel more real, more justified. "They're panicking," he said, scrolling through the texts. "Good," Jayla said from the pool. "Let them panic." "I almost feel bad," I admitted. "Don't," Palmer said firmly. "You didn't create this situation. You just refused to be a doormat." My phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Is this Daphne?" The voice was shaky, older. "Yes, who is this?" "This is Margaret, Charlie's aunt. I'm calling about the wedding situation." I put it on speaker. "Okay." "Dear, I don't know what happened between you and your sister, but I wanted you to know that some of us understand. My nephew's mother can be difficult. That's one word for it. I've been married 43 years, and I can tell you that a marriage built on excluding family members is not starting on the right foot." I was quiet, not sure how to respond. "I also wanted you to know that several of us have decided not to attend today. If the bride's own sister isn't welcome, then perhaps we're not either. Mrs. Margaret, you don't have to. We do have to. Some things are more important than a party, dear. Family loyalty is one of them. After she hung up, we sat in stunned silence. Did Charlie's aunt just boycott the wedding? Palmer asked. I think she did. Nicholas was checking his phone. It's not just her. The group chat is blowing up. At least 6 people have said they're not coming. Because of me? Because of how you were treated. There's a difference. Around noon, Marco appeared with a catering truck. Signorina Daphne, the wedding cake and lunch service you ordered has arrived. I stared at him. I didn't order any... Then I remembered. Oh. Oh, no. What? Jayla asked. I prepaid for catering services for today, for the rehearsal dinner that was supposed to happen here. So? So the cake and food that was supposed to be for Kiara's wedding is here, at my villa, that she can't access. Nicholas started laughing. You accidentally stole your sister's wedding cake? I didn't steal it. I paid for it. This keeps getting better, Palmer said. Marco looked confused. Should I send it back? No, I said slowly. Set it up on the terrace. We're having a party. What kind of party? Jayla asked. A freedom party, an empowerment party, a I'm done being treated like garbage party. I grabbed my phone and opened Instagram, snapping a photo of the elaborate 3-tier cake with its delicate sugar flowers. What are you doing? Nicholas asked. Documenting my vindictive behavior. I typed a caption. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. When life gives you a prepaid wedding cake, make a celebration of new beginnings. Living my best life, fast freedom, schreibt blessed. I hit post. Daphne, Palmer said slowly, that's Kiara's wedding cake. That's my prepaid wedding cake that happens to have been intended for Kiara's wedding. My phone immediately started buzzing with notifications, likes, comments, shares. Within minutes it had dozens of responses. You're glowing! This is iconic! Living for this energy! Then the calls started. First Ciara, then Mom, then numbers I didn't recognize. Turn it off, Nicholas said. Just for today. Let them figure it out. I powered down my phone and looked around at my friends, at the beautiful villa, at the elaborate cake that was supposed to celebrate a marriage that excluded me. You know what? I said. Let's actually have a party. A real one. With the wedding cake? Jayla asked. With the wedding cake, the wedding champagne, and the wedding flowers, all of which I paid for. Palmer raised her mimosa. To Daphne, for finally putting herself first. To revenge served cold, Jayla added. To consequences, Nicholas said quietly. And to people finally getting what they deserve. We spent the afternoon by the pool, eating cake and drinking champagne, while somewhere across town, Kiara was presumably scrambling to salvage her wedding day. Around sunset, Nicholas found me on the terrace, looking out over the Mediterranean. Any regrets? He asked. About the cake? No, about the villa. No, about finally standing up for myself. I paused. Definitely not. And about your sister? I was quiet for a long moment. I'm sad about who she turned out to be, but I'm not sorry for refusing to enable it anymore. She made her choices. She did, and now she gets to live with them. Nicola moved closer. For what it's worth, I think you're handling this perfectly. By destroying her wedding. By refusing to be destroyed by her selfishness. In the distance, I could see lights twinkling in the town below. Somewhere down there, Kiara was either getting married in a hotel ballroom or postponing the whole thing. Either way, it was happening without me. And for the first time in months, I was okay with that. "Come on," Nicholas said, taking my hand. "Let's go cut the cake properly." "It's not my wedding cake." "No," he smiled. "It's better. It's your freedom cake." The next morning, I woke up to find Nicholas making coffee in the villa's kitchen, humming softly. Sunlight streamed through the windows, and for the first time in months, I felt genuinely peaceful. "Good morning," he said, handing me a cup. "Sleep well?" "Better than I have in ages. What time is it?" "Almost 10. Jayla and Palmer are already by the pool, planning your triumphant return to reality." I laughed. "Is that what we're calling it?" "That's what they're calling it. I'm calling it watching someone finally choose themselves." My phone, which I'd turned back on an hour ago, buzzed with a text from Sarah. "Wedding was postponed. Meredith had a complete meltdown when she found out about the cake. Charlie's questioning everything. Thought you should know." I showed Nicholas the message. "How do you feel about that?" he asked. "Honestly." "Relieved. If they'd managed to pull it off, I would have felt like the villain. This way, the consequences speak for themselves." "And if Ciara calls?" "She already has. 17 times. I'm not ready for that conversation yet." Palmer appeared in the doorway. "Speaking of conversations, there's someone here to see you." "Please tell me it's not—" "It's your mom." I closed my eyes. Of course it is. Mom was standing in the villa's foyer, looking smaller than I remembered. Her eyes were red-rimmed, and she was clutching her purse like a lifeline. "Hi, Mom." "Daphne." Her voice was barely a whisper. "Can we talk?" "If you're here to guilt me into giving Kiara the villa, you're too late. The wedding was already postponed." "I'm not here about the villa." She sat down heavily on the couch. "I'm here to apologize." That stopped me cold. "Apologize? I talked to Nicholas yesterday. He told me about Vegas." I glanced at Nicholas, who was standing in the doorway with Jayla and Palmer. He nodded slightly. "Mom." "I also talked to Margaret, Charlie's aunt. She told me about Meredith's email, about how you were treated at that brunch, about things I should have seen but chose to ignore. You were trying to keep the peace. I was enabling your sister's selfishness." Mom's voice cracked. "And I was asking you to do the same thing I've been doing for years, making excuses for her behavior instead of holding her accountable." I sat down across from her. "Why now?" "Because I watched my daughter destroy her own wedding rather than admit she was wrong. Because I realized that in trying to protect Kiara from consequences, I was teaching her that she didn't have to face them. And I was asking you to sacrifice your dignity to maintain that illusion." She looked up at me with tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry, honey. I'm so sorry." For the first time in days, I felt my own eyes fill with tears. "Mom, you were right to take the villa. You were right to stand up for yourself. And you were right to hang up on me when I tried to make you the villain in your sister's story. I didn't want to hurt anyone." "You didn't hurt anyone. You just stopped letting them hurt you." We sat in silence for a moment. "What happens now?" I asked. "Now Kiara has to figure out how to fix her own mess. Charlie's having second thoughts about the marriage. Meredith is furious about the public embarrassment, and half the wedding party is questioning whether they want to be involved at all. And you? I'm going to stop making excuses for her, and I'm going to start being the mother you deserved all along. After Mom left, promising to call later in the week, I found myself back on the terrace with my friends and Nicholas. So, Jayla said, raising her wine glass. What's the verdict? Was the revenge worth it? I thought about it. It wasn't really revenge, it was just boundaries. Expensive boundaries, Palmer pointed out. The most expensive boundaries in history, I agreed, but worth every penny. And what about Kiara? Nicholas asked. What about her? Are you going to talk to her? Eventually, when she's ready to have a real conversation about what she did, not just damage control for her reputation. And if she's not ready? Then she's not ready. I can't force someone to grow up, and I'm done trying. Nicola moved closer on the couch. For what it's worth, I think you handled this perfectly. By accidentally stealing her wedding cake. By refusing to be treated like garbage by people who should love you most. Jayla stood up suddenly. I have an idea. What if we made this an annual thing? What? Stealing wedding cakes? No, idiot. A girls' trip. Same time every year. A celebration of choosing yourself over toxic people. Palmer nodded enthusiastically. I love it. The annual I'm done being a doormat retreat. We need a better name, I said, laughing. We'll workshop it, Jayla said. But the point stands. This villa, these friends, this energy, we should make it a tradition. I looked around at the 3 people who had supported me through the worst week of my life, who had celebrated my small victories and held space for my anger without trying to fix it or minimize it. You know what? I said. Let's do it. Really? Really? Every year, same week, same villa. A reminder that we choose who gets access to our lives. Nicholas squeezed my hand. And what about between now and next year? Between now and next year, I figure out who I am when I'm not trying to manage everyone else's feelings. And if your sister wants to be part of that? Then she'll have to earn it, the same way anyone else would. As the sun set over the Mediterranean, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, I realized something had shifted. The anger was still there, but it felt cleaner now, less like poison and more like fuel. Revenge doesn't fix a broken heart, but it sure as hell sets a boundary no one crosses again. And sometimes that's exactly what you need.